Hi, I'm Cheryl, and I've got this, this is actual watercolor this time. It's not made with the dye-based um, inks. And this is just an anytime card. It's got a little sentiment down the bottom here. It says, "Life is beautiful." And on the inside it says, "Enjoy today." And this is what you'll need for this project. So I'm using the Eastern Beauty stamp set. This is where I got my stamp, "Life is Beautiful." And on this card, the card that I made as my sample, I used this, "Enjoy Today." But then I just got my Climbing Orchid stamp set, and they had "Enjoy Today" in this stamp set too, except it's much larger. This is the one I used in the original. This is the one that I'm going to use on this card, and hopefully it stamps okay. That'll be the first time I'm using it, so we shall see. Maybe I'll use my mini Misty when we get to that point. So I have my Memento black, Tuxedo black ink. I have a paper towel. I have a pair of tweezers. These are optional but very, very handy. I have a wide watercolor paintbrush. This is a silver black velvet oval brush, and it's a 3/4 inch brush. Any wide paintbrush will work for this project. So anything wide. You could probably even use an aqua painter if you wanted to. Off to the side here I have a jar of water, my Tombow glue, and the watercolors I'm using are the Prima Confections, and this is the Tropicals set. They come in different sets. I just got the Classics one, and these are really quite nice. They're a pan watercolor set, and they have these little, they call them half pans of watercolor, and I wasn't too sure how they would be, but I figured I couldn't go too far wrong for the price. It was like, I think like $16 for the set, and if nothing else, I had a nice little palette thing that I could use, and I could, if I wanted to take this on the road with me and take it, and like on vacation or something, I could do some watercoloring there. So I got it. I tried it. They're really quite nice. It's there's a set of 12 of them, and let me grab my Classics set real quick. And they come, because I haven't, they come all wrapped up like this. These little, like little candies, almost. And that's the Classics that I haven't even done anything with. I haven't even done my card on the inside yet on those. But from this 12 set of Tropicals, I charted it out, and I mean, look at all the colors. I mean, lots and lots of colors you can get with just this 12 set, and they're like I said, they're really quite nice. They're for the most part, most of them are very translucent. There are a few like this kind of yellow ochre color, and this like a kind of a sap green color, and the brown are the only ones that I can see that are not real extremely translucent. But for the price, you can't go wrong. So if you're looking to get into watercoloring, that would be a good. These would be a nice little set to get. Now I'm not. I don't work for them or anything. It's just that when I find something I like, I like to pass it on. So I have. Let's see, we'll need a piece of black. Basic black cardstock, and that's about 2 3/4 by 4. You could have it a little larger. I cut this silhouette die cut from that, and I did end up using. I used my little mat thing with the roller on it because that really made quick work of getting this out. It's rather a detailed and got lots of little pieces kind of cutting die. And this is the die. I got this on Amazon, Amazon.com, and this is from a place they call themselves Mikey store. I'll put a link down below where I got it, but it's one of those places. I don't know if it came from China or Korea, but they don't come in a nice box or anything. They come in like these envelopes like this, and it takes quite a while to get them. So there is, I guess, always the chance. I've been lucky, I guess. I haven't had any come damaged, but I guess there's always a chance that they might get damaged in transit. But like I said, I haven't had any bad luck with that, and that costs about $5, I guess, for the die. So I'm always willing to give other people a chance. And you might say, it's coming from China, it's coming from Korea. Yeah, well, you know what? Look on the back of your Sizzix and your Stampendous die sets, because you're going to find out that they also, I believe they're both made in China. I don't know about Spellbinders. I have some Spellbinders dies, but I don't have the original packaging for them. But I'm willing to bet that they also are made probably in China or Korea. It seems like everything is anymore. So, and you'll also need a piece of Whisper White cardstock, 5.5 by 8.5, scored and folded at 4 1/4. So let's get going on. Oh, and a piece of watercolor paper, and this is 4 1/4 by 5.5. This is going to cover the entire card front. And I already have it taped down. I used the delicate surfaces painter's tape to tape it down. And this painter tape is, paper is by Fabriano. And it's their Studio watercolor paper. It's 40-pound paper, so it's quite heavy. And it's hot press, which means it's smooth. Okay? So let's get going on this. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to open up my little palette here. And set that off to the side. And where's my silhouette? Right there. I'm going to decide where I want my silhouette. I want to make sure I leave ample room on the bottom here, so I can have my what do you call it? So I can have my sentiment. And I'm just going to take a pencil and just lightly trace on the bottom of that, because that's where I'll want my sand to end when I'm painting. So we don't have to worry about erasing that later. That will, let's see how I can do this to get everything in the picture here. There we go. That looks pretty good, I guess. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'll take my paintbrush, and about a 1/4 inch up from that line I made, I'm going to just go straight across the paper. That will be where our sky ends and our water starts on the painting. And we want this pretty wet. And that's why I taped my paper down, so it doesn't curl up or buckle so much. Okay, so I've got that wet, and I'm going to start at the top. I'm going to start with a blue, and this is number 23 in the set. They don't give you paint color names. They just give you numbers. That's about the only thing I don't like about this set. Okay, so I'm adding a little water to it and getting that wet, and I'm just going to go right across the top here in the sky. more color. That looks a little pale to me. You can always add more. You can always add more color. But once it's on, well, you can take it away, because we're going to take it away. Wait till you see this. This is going to be we're going to do a lifting technique. Okay, so that looks pretty good. I got that on there. Let me move to the next blue, which is number 15 in the set. Get some of that up here. It's got these nice little palette indents here. It's really a sweet little set. Okay, and then I'm going to put that next blue. I'm just going to stripe it right across. Yeah, I see some blue running down here on the sides. Really don't want the blue down that far, so I'm gonna just dab that off a little bit with my paper towel. Okay, I'm gonna rinse that out, because we're gonna go to the pink color, which is number 22 on the set. Get a little more of that color up there. And we're going to stripe that across. And we're going to get a little purple in there where the two come together. And remember, when your watercolor dries, it's going to be a little bit lighter than what it looks at the moment. So, you got to keep that in mind. Now I'm going to pick up some of the yellow that's here. It's number 21. I just happen to have one more little palette left here. And just go right across the bottom here. And we don't have a whole lot of room there, because we're really close to the horizon now. And come up into the pink a little bit. We'll get some orange in there. And oh, it looks so beautiful. Alright, so now we're going to move on to the sand, which is the bottom part here. I'm not going to wet this quite so much, but I am going to wet it a little bit. So, pick up some of that yellow ochre color. And I have some more pans up here. I'll work up here with that. And get a good amount of water there. I'm just going to come up to that line. Okay. And this is, because this is kind of a little bit even too yellow for my liking for the sand, I'm going to take a little bit of the brown and mix that in with what I had up here of the that yellowish color. I'm going to just, in some places, not over the whole thing, I'm going to add some of that brown. Okay. I'm going to blot some of that brown off. I want it a little softer than that. Alright. I'll have to decide. I've got to suck up some of this water that's puddled on the side here too. So I'm just barely touching inside this painted area. Okay. So the next thing we're going to do, I need a clean paper towel. I've really mucked up the one I had. I'm going to take a clean paper towel. We're going to make some clouds. So I'm going to just ball up my paper towel like this on the end. And I'm going to go in here and I'm going to make some cloud shapes just by, oh, I need a little water on it. I'm going to blot, and it's going to pick up some of the color. And you might have to go over it a few times like I'm doing here. And I'm pressing quite hard on it. And you see it's making, I don't know if you can see, I'll show you in just a sec. I want to get more of my cloud shapes done here. I'm going to pick up the paint. I'm just using the wet paper towel and I'm pressing into the paper. And that's pulling up some of the paint. And as you can see, you might have to work at it a little bit. And let's maybe another one like right in here. Let's see if we can get one in there yet. Because my paint is starting to dry already, so. Let's get that in there. Oh, there we go. Then, if you've ever looked at clouds, you notice that on the bottom of them, they often have pick up some of the colors both from the sky and like if it's a sunset, kind of like this looks. So along the bottom of our little cloud shapes, to set them off and to define them a little bit, I'm just getting just a little bit just on the tip of my brush here. And I'm just gonna kind of go in there, and I'm gonna use like a stumbly type of motion and make it look like it's got some color just down around the bottom edge of the clouds. And then because the clouds often have like little poofy parts, I'm gonna make some little poofy parts like that in a couple of my clouds here. I'll leave that one like it is. So I put a little bit of the blue that was the number 23, the darker blue. Now I'm going to take a little bit of the pink color, which is number 22. And again, I just picked a little bit up on the very tip of my brush here. I'm going to add a little bit of that pink in there. Just little dabs, kind of a stumbly kind of thing. Just everywhere I put that blue, I just put a little bit of the pink and maybe extend it out a little bit on the edges of it. And then it just looks like your clouds have picked up, they're reflecting some of the color from the sky. Okay. So now I think everything's gotten dry enough. I can put the water in. We've got a little blank area. Let me show you the clouds close up. You see your clouds now? Yeah, so it just defines them and makes them stand out more too. And like I said, that's what clouds look like. That's what they do. So I'm going to pick up some of the lighter of the blue colors. And put some water in here. So we'll go straight across the horizon here. And we'll follow the curve of the sand. Okay, so this is pretty light. I'm going to add a little bit more color to it. pick up a little bit more of that lighter blue and just we're going to go back and forth here. So if there's any streakiness, it just kind of looks like the waves on the water. And if it all blends in, well, then it's just a nice calm day. You know, watercolor is funny like that. Watercolors kind of do what they want. So it's just happy accidents. Okay. So that's pretty cool, but I want to jazz up my sand a little bit. So I'm going to take some scrap paper here. And I'm going to cover up our water. Just going to lay that on top, just loosely on top like that. Our water and our sky. I'm going to get some of that brown color, that number 24. Mix that up at the top here. And I'm going to, against my finger, I'm going to flick it. I'm going to hit my brush, and it's going to make all kinds of little speckles. I want most of it to end up down the bottom. And actually, I want most of it to end up down in this bottom right corner here. Okay. So we're going to let that set for just a minute or so, and then I'm going to blot off those speckles. Let me just wipe this up because I got speckles all over the place. We can take our paper off now. And I'll just wipe around the edges of the tape here where watercolor got off to the sides while I'm waiting for my speckles to set up a little bit. And now I'm going to just dab them off. So it's a very light texture. You see? So oops. Let me put the paints aside because now we're done with the painting. And I'll pull my tape off. Save that for another day because I save everything. I'll use that tape till it doesn't stick anymore. Okay. Oh, that's really quite lovely. Look, we've got our clouds, we've got our ocean, we've got the sand and sandy speckles on it. And now we can put our silhouette down. Now when I was doing this originally, I thought, you know, this is an awful detailed little die. I think I'll use my fine tip glue pen. Well, the problem with that is that once that fine tip glue dries, it doesn't stick anymore. So till I got done putting glue on here, because it's all these little palm leaves needs glue, and these little points on the curve at the bottom, and there's just so much on here that needs that little dab of glue on there to keep it all stuck down. So till I got done doing that on all these little pieces, then it had dried and it wouldn't stick. Whereas Tombow glue just keeps sticking. If this dries, it just makes it like a glue dot, and that's actually even better because then we don't have to worry about any glue seeping out around the edges, making marks on our paper. So we're just going to put a very light coat of, just a light bit of Tombow on there. This is where the tweezers come in handy. I'm going to pick it up with the tweezers. And then I can hopefully get it in position here. On my little arch of sand. Take the tweezers off. And there we go. There we've got our silhouette now is done. And it's stuck down. Now my paper's a little wet. If I were doing this, I had hours and hours of time, I would just weight this. I'd put it between two pieces of scrap paper and just weight it down and let it dry completely. But since I don't have hours and hours of time for this video, you all would wander away, I'm sure. Then I'm working with it a little bit on the wet side here. Okay, so now I have my Life is Beautiful stamp. And oh, here's a little trick. When you have a stamp that's long and thin like this, set it down on your table and then pick it up with your block, and then it will be the way it's supposed to be. It won't get distorted. Okay, so we'll ink that up. And I want that just curved up in the bottom corner here. And it's the bottom right hand side, and it looks like I got some ink on my beautiful painting. Oh no, let me dab that out a little bit while that's still wet, and it won't be quite so noticeable. People will think it's just a little shadow over there, I guess. I hope, right? So that's the front of the card. The front of the card's done. Oh. And I'm going to get my mini Misty out. This is quite a large sentiment, and I haven't used it before. So just to be on the safe side, I'm going to, let's see, I'll fold my paper the other way. Set that down in my mini Misty here. And I'll put my stamp where I want it. This is the inside of the card now that we're working on. And that looks pretty good right there. Fold that over, pick it up, and it's sticking. There. Make sure that's back down the corner where it was. Now I'll ink my stamp up. Let me get that ink off of there. I don't want that ink. And we'll bring that over and press that down. And see how this impression comes out. Oh, it looks good. I don't have to do it again. If it hadn't come out, I could just re-ink this and stamp it again, and it would be exactly in the same place, and it would have saved the day. So now we can close that back up. Get my stamp off of there so I don't forget about it and put it away in my Misty and then wonder what the heck happened to it. Okay, so we've got our card front, we've got our card base. I'm just putting just a simple Tombow glue on the back here. I'll put a good amount on there because it is a little ripply. Put that on the front. And then I want to make sure that's lined up perfectly with my base. Give it a little press. And there we go. Our card's finished. We have a beautiful sunset and a lucky person there reading in her hammock. and enjoy today on the inside. So if you've liked my video, then please hit the like button down below. If you'd like to see more, then be sure to hit the subscribe button. Well, there's not too many Stampin' Up! Products, but there are a couple. If you'd like to get any Stampin' Up! Products that I've used today, then you can do that either through my Facebook page or my website, and as always, I'll list the everything that I've used today down below in the comments area. So y'all take care, stay safe, and happy stamping.